Previously on Chief Concerns.
I was excited about the Bolton pick, and especially seeing his highlights. Very instinctive, got a knack for the ball, how to get there, make big plays, great speed, and his awareness is. I mean, he just has all the things that you need right now as a back.
He's got a little twinkle, a little wiggle in his hips, man. He likes playing football. He does a good job going up, catching the football, strong hands, and he's exciting. So I look at it, they say baby Kelsey, man, but he's athletic. He's athletic.
It's the corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Chief Concerns. I'm Marcus Dash. I'm here with our hosts, former tight end Jason Dunn and former cornerback Eric Warfield. Gentlemen, how you guys doing?
What up?
Good. How's it going?
Good. Did you guys get a chance to see our boy Dante and his the little break in the news of our schedule yesterday in the Chiefs video?
No, I didn't catch it.
It was that was like our breaking of our schedule. He like opens up a box of cards and like releases each one. Each one shows who are playing week 1, week 2, week 3.
Oh, I saw they had on Instagram, they had him holding a deck, like not a deck, but some cards in his hand, but I didn't know what they were doing with it. So
yeah, that was it. The production quality was pretty good. It was like, say, any of us open up a cards when we were kids and stuff, open them up and, excited about that, the unboxing. So yeah, it was, that was pretty cool seeing Dante do that. But we saw a schedule quickly. Do you guys have any games you're going to maybe scout out to go see next year just based off the schedule you saw?
Right now I'm hoping to be at the Cleveland game, the Cowboys game. I'm not sure what the ambassador game is going to be, but since they're going back to full capacity, I'm assuming we're going to have an ambassadors game this year. So that'll be another one. And right now I'm looking to go to Vegas for the Raiders game. So those are just a few. Now, I also keeping a weekend open because I got to make a couple of games out in Nebraska for my Huskers. So, but just to add a few names, not a few names, but a few weekends that I plan on enjoying is those. But I've got friends that here in Dallas that are also talking about going to the Buffalo game, and I think that's week 5. So we'll see.
That's a lot of games right there.
That's a lot of games. I tell you what, man, I don't know. I don't really have that type of convenience to get out there in Kansas City like what I want to. I'm like you said, I usually try to make the ambassadors game, probably, playoff game for sure. And then I seen one. My birthday is around the 15th of November, so I know they play the Raiders. I think on the 14th. So maybe that week. So right now, that's what I'm kind of looking at. And I don't want to get out there when it's real cold. I like to try to get something, usually in warm weather, where you're in nice attire, where you can kind of enjoy yourself, enjoy the weather, and it's, out there in Kansas City. So I'm looking probably like 3 games, possibly getting out there too to go see.
All right, so before we get to our first segment, we have a word from our sponsor in BetOnline. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up. Head to the website, BetOnline.AG, or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Now, in our first segment tonight, we have that. Obviously, we just talked about the NFL schedule is released. I feel pretty good about it. I'm looking at it. Every year I always say mark it off there, wins and losses. 15-2, 14-3, maybe. I don't know. It'd be a good season if we could do that. But just when you guys looked at the schedule, what was kind of the things that jumped out at you? What are the biggest tests that you see coming up this year?
I think every team is going to be a test. I mean, you even look at the so far. I want to say Washington, maybe the Giants might be but Washington's a good team, really good defense, young defense, depending on what quarterback and how he does at the helm of things. But even the Giants, they're going to have Barkley back, and who knows what else that they've improved on. So I don't think there's an easy win that's on our schedule. We look at things at the beginning of the season based off what they did last year, based on certain players. And we try to react, with the of saying that, we could easily beat these teams. But, here at the beginning of OTAs, we should be close to doing right now. We have no idea how these teams are going to turn out. They could all be exciting, neck and neck games. But seeing that the offense that we have, the defense that we're putting together, we would hope that our team is good enough to go out and get 14, 15 wins this year. But yet we never know. I mean, I just know from playing the game for so long, you can never overlook a team just because of what they did last year or who's on that team to say that's an easy win.
Yeah, I agree with you. To be honest with you, when you're looking at the schedule, there's a lot of tough teams that we had to play this year. A lot of tough teams. And if you're just looking at what the teams are built off of last year, you see Buffalo that had to play. Dallas is going to come in with, Dak is back. Then you're thinking about also to Cleveland, the Chargers, the Raiders. I mean, there's a lot of tough teams that's on its schedule. So it's not an easy schedule by no means. And like I said, for guys, I'm not even talking about what they had in their draft. I'm just talking about the stuff that they had from last year, free agency wise. What guys are dealing with. So if I had to, if just making somewhat of a good guess, I want to say, 14-3 is good, right? I mean, anything like that, that's a great deal. And so if 14-3, you're dealing with, who you have in your division, every week, every time you deal with one of those guys, it's always going to be a great, fought out, hard fought game. It is. I don't care. The Raiders are going to come in. They're going to come in, pumped to play,
dogfight every game with us.
Every single game. Yeah. Now Denver's, looking to come up with a little bit. Now you're thinking about the Chargers as well. I mean, so
we don't even know if Denver might intercept Aaron Rodgers. So he's still out there.
Right, that's the talk. So the thing is, man, I just there's a lot of good things. It's going to give us a test. I'm excited. Just thinking about it and talking about the schedule, kind of get my juices flowing a little bit. Just thinking about it, I'm like, woo, look at this. Your hands are put together. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's going to come out this past year. But I think we'll be really successful. Like I said, man, 14-3, 15-2, easy. But we could easily be, possibly undefeated, right? People want to talk about those things. You want to think about it, especially if all the pieces fall like we should the right way. So, yeah, we'll just see.
Yeah, and I think right off the bat, we talk about, on the show we were talking about our first game of the playoffs against Cleveland. That was a dogfight. Henny came in the second half of that game. That was a dogfight, and we start off the season with them. And I'm sure they're going to have their revenge. That's going to be a big play, a big part of them leading up to that Week 1 game. So I think that, like you guys said, I mean, there's no game where I'm like, you know what, that's a win. And even this year, now that we know what we have in Justin Herbert going against him 2 times a year. Yeah. I mean, he's a baller, man. That's a good quarterback. Obviously, we've had our way with Drew Lock and the Broncos quarterback situation, but if they get A-Raj, that's obviously different. Yeah, and the Raiders finally have fans in the stadium. They didn't have even 1,000 fans. They didn't even have a limited amount of fans last year. They had no fans, so that's their inaugural season essentially with that stadium. So that's also going to play to their benefit in all their games.
Yeah, and that Cleveland game that's a scary one, mainly for the simple fact that it's the first game of the season. We may come out slow, not really ready to jump on things or at full force. And especially with them revamping their defense, adding Clowney, they're up their offense with adding Odell Beckham back. as well as keeping everything that they had last year. But just having, to me, Clowney and Garrett coming at you from both angles, that's another two-headed monster that Cleveland's dealing with exception to the duo of running backs that they have on offense, right? And along with the duo of wide receivers that are top-notch. So Cleveland has a lot of the right pieces. And I think just going out and overlooking that first game of the season, which some teams do. Some teams don't come out the box hot. And I just hope that we're not one of those that kind of overlooks the team just because of of a win last year.
Well, I'll tell you, see, man, I'm excited who they have on our side, but I'm excited about who we have on our side, though, too, right? Man, we got the counterpunch. That's what we've been looking for, right? We got the tackle. We got Brown. Name. We got the guys in pieces to handle that, right? Clowney, yeah. We got people in place for that. So some of our concerns that, we wanted to deal with and, we had in issues last year, hey, man, that should be out the window at this point, right? That should really be out the window. So, we start looking at who they got as far as on offense-wise. Shoot, you look at our offense, it just goes across the board. Who we got? Running back, receiving, tight end. I mean, we got them. We got the pieces. Now, effective running game, teams are not just pulling back and just, laying their hand down in the dirt and peeling off on, the tackles like they want to. Yeah. It's coming after them, right? So I think, with what we've been able to do in the draft and getting guys to free agency, you're going to be able to mix it up, okay, offensively. And so that's going to be a wonderful thing. Same thing defensively, man. We got, to me, linebacker-wise, what we got kind of defensive end in the interior, we got some fast guys. Then we could play a lot more faster than what, we possibly did last year. So these guys, the young guys that came in, is going to change things a little bit different. Plus, we got a lot of that experience back from last year. Still got to make, hopefully the decision to get what's on back reeling. So if we can do that, if we can do those things like that, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely a good first test to have to see what kind of O-line we're going to be working with. I mean, I saw Lou Riddick earlier today was saying that this is the best O-line the Chiefs have had since the Mahomes era. And I see this offense exploding this year, essentially. So it's a good test right off the bat. We're going against a premium pass rush and those two dudes. So we're going to see what we got right off the gate. And like you said, I think it's a brilliant counterpunch to any pass rush and defense we have that we'll face.
You say since the Mahomes era?
Yeah. So Louis Riddick tweeted that in the Mahomes era, this is the best O-line that he has.
Yeah.
Right.
You thought he said since.
Yeah. No, in the Mahomes era.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chiefs concern number 2 kind of talks about the schedule a little bit. So this is something I've been reading that since they have made it so that's going to be 18 weeks, so 17 game season, that there's a chance that we might start to see, and I don't know, I'd love to see your guys' opinion on this because you guys played, but the term load management, which we see in NBA all the time. I think that became famous when Popovich was resting Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and all the old guys towards the end of their careers. But with the 17-game seasons and some of these teams having a bye week in week 14, so we're talking about 17 weeks of straight from 3 weeks of preseason to 14 games in the regular season before having a bye week or given any kind of rest, we may actually start to see load management in the NFL. That's what I've been reading. There's a possible chance of that. What's your take on that? On load management?
I haven't experienced, so I can't really speak on it, but I can see it happening, especially when you have key players that are, either feeling certain injuries or need the rest, or you don't want to jeopardize throwing them out there for games that you don't really need. But the NFL, you need every game, unless it's the end of the season and you've already solidified your position in the playoffs, as well as like home field advantage, as far as what we did last year. So that's when it kind of doesn't matter or play into it. But other than that, every game matters in the NFL. You can lose a game. You can lose 4 or 5 games in the NBA and you still got 70 left. I think, 82 games in the season?
Yep.
So you still got 70 plus left. 17, you just adding one extra game and the bye week can be later on in the season kind of to extend it more. But every game is important in the NFL, unless it's that last game of the season to where the team has already, solidified a spot as a home field advantage.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It would probably be somewhere toward the end of the season that you'll think about doing something like that. But like I said, man, looking at the schedule, there's not one cakewalk game on this thing. And so, like he said, man, you need every game. You do. But the thing is, you need guys to last longer. So load management, it makes sense to me. I think, strategically, how H&M was doing in the draft was, kind of thinking about these things, right? To get a tight end that might be able to come in and give Travis Kelce a break, because you don't want some of these guys going in and having 65 snaps every single week. You just don't want it 65, 70 snaps every single week, especially, maybe like on a receiver and stuff like that, where you're going to get a lot more kind of banging. The interior guys are kind of used to it. You're going to do a lot of that just every single day in practice. But here's the thing. The difference is where practice and the structure of things are a lot different than when we were playing. I think guys can do it. And so, when we were, having 2 days out there practice, we were banging, we were hitting. So it's almost like you could think about, 16, 18 game season, the way that we were practicing, so it was a lot more physical. It was a lot more, tackling and stuff that was in practice, during the summer camps. So all of that's been eliminated. It's been eliminated. So I don't think it's going to be an issue as far as guys doing the 17 games. But, load management, where you have a guy who's been playing for a long time, and look, you take care of your veteran players. That's just what it is. You do it anyway. As far as like, do load management, you look at the guy like, man, you need a break here. Hey, you know what? You let this guy right here take this series. And so you can work these things in. But to me, if you got an older guy, some of the guys are going to be bringing in that may have like some injuries that they're still trying to get over with. Load management makes sense to me.
For years, like you said, Eric, 82 game season versus a 16 game season in the past. It's just, you don't really hear of that. But and there are ways, like you say, spelling Travis Kelce, not letting him play, 60 snaps, and taking him out more and bringing in guys like Noah Gray, which is what we drafted. Yeah, it's just interesting to hear that could be coming to the NFL. You never think of that when you have a 16 game, 17 game season versus like these other sports like baseball. They have 200 games they play, so like they can do that. Basketball, they can do that. So every game matters in the NFL. So.
Okay, to be honest with you, they've kind of done that. They haven't called it that, but you kind of watch a guy, especially he's been kind of banged up and beat up a little bit. That sometimes you might split series here and there, so they don't really talk about it. But some guys are like, all right, man, I'm tweaking. You go in for this series right here. So coaches are aware of it. Upper management are aware of it. It comes down to the bottom, like talking to the trainers, like how's this guy feel this week? What do you think? Well, we'll give him maybe, 50% of the snaps. We'll let him take.
Yeah, but it's completely different with us though, JD, because like you have guys that are 100% healthy in the NBA, and that coach is like, okay, we don't really want you to play this game. We want to give you a breather. We want you to sit this game, sit that game out. As opposed to like us, like, you might have Willie Rope and Will Shields that may have a lingering injury. They just want to take a few snaps off, or maybe want to take the day off that weekend, and we don't need them. For a game that's not, whether you got a team that's struggling that we're playing against, or we have the playoff position solidified, so we don't need them for those kind of games. It's the way I guess it's kind of defined for the NBA, because it's like guys that don't really need the rest, or that aren't hurt.
You're getting the rest, yeah. So to me, when and I know it's totally different, but if you're talking about keeping a guy out like an entire game, right? And I'm thinking about like just snap counting in itself, right? Load management, okay? And even if he is healthy, you still want to say, well, look, I want to take, some of these hits off this guy or going out there. Like I said, linemen are different. Linemen, you're taught to, hey, look, you know what? Persevere through this game the entire week. I don't care if you're 100% or not, right? Let's get yourself ready, go out there and perform. And, you're not really running up and down the field that much, but you still, how to deal with pain. You know how to deal with some of these things. And the hardest thing, you don't want to load manage. And I'm saying maybe a guy who's an integral part of the offensive line. like that, I know is something that's completely different, because these guys are practicing together the whole time, and you just know a guy that's beside you. And so having a new guy in a little bit is a little different. So I know that's somewhat of a challenge, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I was just thinking, snap count, eat, I'm saying, low management.
I got you.
Interesting. Yeah, it's always great to hear your guys' takes on these things, because you guys were part of that and stuff. So it's always, I can hear Joe Schmoes talk about it on ESPN or whatnot, but hearing you guys talk about it, love it. Okay, so our next concern is current events, what's going on this week with the Chiefs. Obviously, we have the schedule, and that's the big news for the week. But the start of this week, we had reports coming out of certain Chiefs players were reaching out to Dede Westbrook, who's a free agent from Jacksonville, went to Oklahoma. I believe he was a Blitnikoff Award winner in college. He was also a Heisman finalist, too. So that's a name we've thrown around this show before, but apparently Chiefs players are reaching out to gauge his interest in coming to KC. And so that's something. There is interest there. And then also right before the show today, we brought in Mike Hughes. We traded a 6th-round pick to the Minnesota Vikings. We got Mike Hughes, cornerback from UCF, who was a 1st-round pick, and we also got a 7th round in return as well. So, what are your thoughts on the Mike Hughes move and the chance of getting Dede Westbrook?
I like the option of getting Dede. I mean, I saw that we cut 2 linemen, right? The one that was getting the Dodge coins, that was going to collect that in his pay, and somebody else to free up some cap space. So we're obviously making some moves to make a splash with somebody in this free agency market. He is a playmaker. He's proven. Injuries, I think, have kind of hindered him, but he's a definite playmaker. If we can get him in the right position, I think he will excel in this offense. The cornerback coming in, my only issue with that is that we did that last year, and it didn't really pay off. For whatever reason, whether it was injuries or he just didn't have the necessary skills to beat out whoever was in front of him to get on the field. It just didn't pay off for us. So I don't see much happening with that. And I also saw something on Twitter to where we might have a chance at bringing Freeland back. So I like that better than anything if that's still available. But the new guy that's been hurt from UCF, I hope he can come in and stay healthy and be the productive guy that he was drafted to be. But other than that, Westbrook, I'm all excited about that if it happens.
Look, I like Dede Westbrook. I do. Now, like you said, he's coming off an injury, and that's an issue. But I've been a big proponent of the guys that's in the room right now. I really am. Do we need another veteran guy? Somebody who, and I like veteran guys, maybe older, that could lead a younger group of guys to let them know what it means to be a professional, how to do certain things. And Dede Westbrook, man, he's a great receiver. I wonder how his speed is going to be and his quickness after this injury. That's always the question. And so a major injury too. This is not like something that's a minimal thing. I mean, we're talking, a knee injury that you're talking about, just all out speed, which he plays with. So I like thinking about bringing him in. I think it can add on to what we do. I like Pringle, Robinson, Hill, Hardman. I like Tajay Sharp, Coleman. Look, there's guys in the room right now, okay? And I think we can go ahead and get on the field at this moment. If the game had to start right now, I like the guys that we got getting on the field. Matter of fact, I've seen that we got a free agent, the guy from Notre Dame, right? So I was watching him, and I was a little excited watching some of his film. I'm like, man, this is some of the stuff that we do already, and some of the movement and getting open. I mean, he's going to be a great addition. We just don't know how he's going to fit into the scheme of things. But I just see that what we got here, what we can do offensively. We got a good group of guys. We do. Now on the Hughes situation, I think this Hughes situation, and this is just me personally, But I think part of that is just the leverage about, going to Breland and saying, okay, look, we're getting guys in here. Do you still want to be a chief? You can go out here and hit this market and try to find out and keep trying to go chase after whatever. But what you've been trying to get is already here. You've done that. We done been to the Super Bowl, twice. So, we want you to be here. We don't want you to go anywhere else. Let's get this thing done. That's to me, that's what we need to do. We need to go after Breland and just get him back. So I think part of that is cap space you're talking about may be talking about trying to get him back here too. And I know they're not going to extinguish any type of conversation with him as far as getting back there on the Chiefs. But I think, man, if you get him back, man, that's a solid move that you want to be able to get. This guy right here comes in, has a lot of potential. Coming off an injury, we don't know how it's going to do. So I don't know, man. Breland to me is our choice. But I like Hughes signing, but I think part of it is just leverage, right? Part of it is just a bargaining tool saying, we're getting guys in here. Do you still want to be here or not? So my opinion.
Yeah.
But I know you're not alone, and you love the current receiver room that we have, and a lot of fans love what we have right now. But what does it tell you, though, when our players reportedly are going to Dede Westbrook and engaging his interest in coming to Kansas City? And, and there's also been reports this year where, we've gone out and sought after high price receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster. And, now our players are going to other guys and say, hey, would you want to come to KC? I mean, does it show that maybe the players maybe other guys on the team aren't really excited about the depth we have at receiver right now?
I think a guy who's proven, who's already been in the league, who's called, a lot of balls from, I wouldn't say maybe stellar quarterbacks, is going to add something to the room. And I think guys have rapport with those guys. They know what they've done. They've seen him. They were in college at the same time. They've seen what he's done, on TV as well. So, guys is, playing your position, who he can be. So they just know, like, look, man, you come in here, hey, we'd love to have you. I guarantee you everybody in the room ain't doing that. I promise you that. Everybody in the room ain't saying, look, yeah, we need to bring Dede Westbrook in here. Somebody's sitting there saying, like, look.
That's taking food off their table.
Huh?
That's
absolutely.
Taking food off their table.
Right. Shoot, because you start thinking at this point, what makes me think I can't do it? You know what I mean? So, I know it's kind of put out there like, hey, all the guys want to bring him in. Yeah, it's fine. Some dudes are sitting over there with their arms crossed like, look, I'll get this thing done. If you don't think I can do it, let me show you what I can do. So, I'm sure guys are reaching out, like I said, because that's just part of like that rapport of guys just playing with each other. You know who guys are. But everybody ain't excited in the room. I promise you that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we got a nice little young core of guys. I think, what is Tariq right now? 5-6 years in?
Yeah, I think he was the year before. Was it 2016, I think?
Yeah.
Still young, but right now he's considered a vet. He's got his, he's 5-6 years in. Kelsey's the oldest of the crew. And he's a tight end, but he's a receiver. Putting up receiver numbers, putting up receivers catches. Running receivers routes. So he's a part of that receiving committee. And to have those two guys to lead your unit, I'm with Jason because I think that with the young crew that we do have, you can plug those guys in there to make plays. Now, if they're seeing something on a weekly basis that we're not seeing, that's not producing on the field, then yeah, maybe these guys are speaking out to Dede Westbrook. And like Jason said, I know on the other side, a lot of those younger guys are like, give me the opportunity. We don't need a Westbrook in here. We don't need a Schuster in here. We don't need any of these other big names. Let us make a name for ourselves.
There you go.
So, let us see what we can produce.
Right.
But on the other side, as a coaches committee and GMs, if they're not seeing the productivity and the stuff, the wins and the stats to go with it, then they have to make those decisions no matter what these receivers are saying. So it may be that somebody has said something like Dede Westbrook will fit in good with our offense. But as Jason said, I know for a fact, every time I've heard somebody trying to say, we're going to bring this guy in to help solidify our secondary. Even though our secondary, back when our days, our secondary wasn't that good, I didn't want any of those other guys brought in. They have a name. They've proven themselves. But still, I don't want somebody coming in to take food off my table.
Right. And look, man, perspective, like you said, it's just, and you got guys. Some guys hadn't really been there long enough. So Robinson, I think, is, I know we talk about a number 2, but I think Robinson is he's made his case, to be almost a legit number 2. And I think he's just going to get better. So, why not sign? We signed him. Why not? We're thinking him that way. Hardman is another guy. I think he's going to have another breakout. I think he's going to have a better year this year than he did last year, right? He's just going to get better. Pringle comes in hungry. So we talk about Coleman, Tanjay Sharp, who wants to resurrect their career at this moment. They want chances and opportunity. You playing with the best quarterback in football, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, like, who's these young hoes been throwing to me before, right? Now I got somebody who can actually give me the ball instead of somebody throwing the ball in the dirt. I had to, jump over here, leap over 2 guys to get the football. Now it's going to be right on me when I'm turning around. So who's to know what the guy's going to be able to do? So I think, man, give these guys some chance and opportunity. Dede Westbrook. And look, I'll say this too. Can we get a guy here who's healthy? Can we get somebody who's 100% healthy when we get in, right? Either that or I'm gonna throw a name out here, and I know we won't be able to get him. I don't know how people feel about this, but somewhere in the back of my mind, who would absolutely work in this room?
Julio.
Who?
Julio.
Well, Julio's one. I'm gonna give you another vet. Not really to get a lot of numbers from him. Fitzy. Can we get Fitzgerald here?
That's solid.
Hey man, look, a veteran guy who's an absolute tip-top A professional in what he does. When I'm talking about, could absolutely teach these guys how to run route, everything about the position. And that's what I'm talking about as far as a leader. When you have that would absolutely work in a room like that. I don't know if we can get him right. Julio to me is that's whew, you got to pay your joker. You got to pay him, right? Yeah. You coming in, man, with a Ferrari coming into the room. So it ain't no Honda. So that's the only difference. But I see it like somebody like Fitzgerald. You're gonna bring somebody in. I wouldn't say necessarily beat up, but got some, a little longer than 2, but he still got some ability. He's going to catch footballs. He's going to get over. He just got strong hands, man. He's going to play big. That's what he does. So I don't know. That's just me.
I mean, I think he's one of those that wants to end his career where he starts it. And even now, I know he's talked about, he hasn't made a decision on whether he wants to hang it up. Just because they brought in a lot of firepower into Arizona.
Yes, they did.
And so, he hasn't looked at his career to where it's like, he's done yet. I think he feels like he can still compete. And he hasn't made a decision if he wants to retire yet. And I don't know if he's one of those that wants to be considered a journeyman just by going to another team. So he might if he doesn't make the team, I think he's willing to just go ahead and call it a career with Arizona.
I hear. I mean, he's already wearing red and white. Bring him out over here to this one. Come on over here to Arrowhead. Win you a couple.
I'll take it.
yeah. Win a couple Super Bowls before you leave up out of here, Fitzy. Dude.
It's so crazy that just seeing like the Brooklyn Nets teams right now, right, where they're getting like old guys that come out and play, guys who were like, Fitzgerald, who was a badass number 1 receiver back in the day, right, and then you had guys like Blake Griffin, who was one of the best power forwards in the league. He's sitting on the bench in Brooklyn right now, getting a couple minutes a game. He's not. It's just weird. It's funny how like the NFL doesn't have that same kind of thing where the NBA does. Guys can play till their late 30s and hang around playing 5 minutes a game. Whereas a guy like Fitzgerald, he might, if he's not going to make the team, he's, I'm done. I'm not going to stick around and just like tag along to a team to get a ring. But
that's a rare thing. You rarely get guys that can play for as long as Jerry Rice did. That play as long as what Tom Brady's doing, or to play as long as what Fitzgerald's doing. So that's rare. Because your body takes a beating, and I know we talked about it earlier. Like, a lot of guys would love to call their career like, hey, I'm going to end it this year. This is my, my last dance. And that we hate to be in that position of having to be released or having to have that tap on the shoulder to say, hey, it's time for us to move on. We've enjoyed your stay, but, we're moving on. So nobody really wants to be in that position. So when you have legends and Hall of Famers that play for 15 plus years and that can continue going based off of basically what they produce every year, putting people in the stands and putting stats on the sheets. So that's very rare that you get guys like that. So it's good to see them that come in, and I enjoy. Even though he won a ring against my team this year, I enjoy watching Tom Brady play. I enjoy watching Drew Brees in his early 40s, putting up the numbers and going out there making the plays that he did. So, yeah, I love it. It's very rare that you get it, but you can get, like you said, the basketball guys. They can go out there and heck, you can be like a Haslam. Don't even play and just sit on the bench, but you be a player coach like Juwan Howard was, and you still just sit making millions by doing nothing. That'll never happen in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, I'm just.
I can't say that won't happen because I know Aaron Glenn did it and then Sean Lee for the Cowboys was doing it because he gets hurt so much. But he was another one of those. But that's very rare.
Yeah. Oh, my neck hurts. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah.
Now, man, I'm thinking out loud. That was it. When I'm sitting there, he may be available or something like that, trying to work some things out. I'm like, shoot, he'd be a great guy in the locker room. Shoot, 37 years old, man, to get him in for a couple of years, 2 or 3. Shoot, you just sweep his thing, man. Shoot, make it a dynasty, build from that. So,
But that is something that a lot of quarterbacks do. Quarterbacks, you can just Todd Collins, Charlie Batch. A lot of them guys have been in the league forever and have rarely touched the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Jeff George towards the end of his career, he was hanging on, but he seemed like he was ancient, but he's probably like 10 years younger than what Brady is now.
Yeah.
But on this topic, so we're going to go to our last chief concern for the night, but it's still the same kind of topic of knowing when to hang it up, what some might say. This week, there's reports of Tim Tebow coming to try out with, he's already tried out and he's probably going to get signed here in the next few days is what the reports are. Joining up with Urban Meyer to play tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, it sparked a lot of controversy. There's a lot of opinions on it. People are saying it's taken away from actual guys who have played the position, who are young and eager to play, start their NFL career, just because of nepotism in a way. He's best friends with Urban Meyer, and the guy just wants to keep playing, and he can play baseball, he can join ESPN, he can do whatever he wants. But I would say I want both of you guys to respond to this. But JD, you're a tight end. I mean, is this kind of insulting to you that a guy like Tim Tebow can just come out there? I'm playing tight end today, and that's.
Is it insulting? No. Look. If he goes out there, he's gonna figure out real quick if he can do it or not. All right, that's the reality of it. Now, of course, he tight ends today. Well, he'll fit right in with some of the atrocious blocking that's going on right now. I'll say that. But they don't quite ask the tight ends to do what they used to do when I was playing. And so, kind of sticking your nose in it. You still have some tight ends that will come in and bang heads and, can block a 9 technique, a guy straight up, head up technique on you. Inside guy maybe had to block down on a, defensive tackle. But to me, is it insulting? Look, if the guy can do it, he can do it. I don't have no problem with it, to be honest with you. I really don't. All I look at is everybody's upset because we know Tim Tebow has privilege and a benefit of knowing Urban Meyer. That's what it is. That's all it is, period. It's simple. That's all it is. Any other team, he would not have this opportunity. Let me just make that clear, all right? So Urban Meyer, who knows Tim Tebow, was sitting there saying, hey, you know what, Tim? He's assessing him and watching him every single day. But it's without a doubt the benefit of being friends with Urban Meyer. That's it, bottom line. And so him knowing and having that privilege of being able to do those things is what may get him signed. Or, they saying particularly going to get him signed. Look, if he can play, fine, good. We were just talking about Bernard Pollard on here, coming back. Look, if Bernard can play, he makes the team. Shoot, let him do it. Fine. I don't mind that. I don't mind it whatsoever. But if you go out there and stink it up, then it's like, look, told you so. Should have known better. Come out here trying to stick your nose in here like that. But hey, man, he's got to figure it out. And look, if he, like I said, I'll clap my hands, congratulate him if he could play that position. No problem. I got no problem with whatsoever. But he's got to make the team. He's got to make the team. So that's all it is, man. It's just, like you said, almost like nepotism. It's the privilege and the benefit of just knowing your former coach to get on a team. Is he taking away from other guys getting on a team? I don't know. But we know these things do exist. We all have, privileges and benefits in different ways in life. So he's just using his, to get on the team.
I agree. I have nothing bad to say. And I don't want, because this is a crazy thing. I ended up looking at Tim Tebow's Instagram, had no clue. Dude was like doing, he's preaching. I know he's been very religious since college days. And, that's one thing that he stood and continues to stand by. So me to sit up and to voice my opinion, like I've seen all the guys on ESPN do, I have no ill feelings toward who he is as a person, as an athlete, none of that. If he's got the opportunity to do so and a coach is giving him a chance to do that, more power to him. I have nothing bad to say about the guy because I don't need anything coming back to me about saying something negative about Tim Tebow. So, hey, more power to you. God bless you. If you do it, I'll enjoy watching you play.
Right. Look, man, but look, you can be critical, guys. You can. And you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even worry about that.
I don't need Tim Tebow reading those scriptures about me and add me into them.
That's all right, man. Read it back to him. But, as a man of God, we read back to him. We share scripture with each other, right? Because there is a good thing about pride. We talk about pride, in the good book. So we want to make that clear. So hopefully it's not prideful just going out there just saying that I'm so in love with some of the attention that I'm getting from this, right? Like he said, man, he's a competitor. Fine. If you can compete, you can make it. Like I said, more power to you.
Yeah.
But look, I'm going to say this. When I left Kansas City, teams were calling me up, and part of teams calling me up is because of my privilege and benefit of me knowing coaches on other teams.
Yeah.
They called me, gave me kind of first dibs, like, hey, Jason, we want to bring you in, as opposed to other guys that might be out on the street. And it was like coaches I had before in Philadelphia and Kansas City because they knew who I was. And so Tim Tebow is just accepting that responsibility, that privilege that he's getting from Urban Meyer, that somebody who knows who he is, saying we got a good character guy that comes in here. The guy's 6'3", 250-something pounds. So he ain't a small dude. It ain't like he's, 215.
Yeah.
But 6'3", 255. But I tell you what, though, he comes over in the middle, gets smacked one good time. Check, please. That joke might he might take his helmet off and quit on his own. So,
but this is a new NFL, so they can't make those big hits going across the middle. So
I hear you. Guys are just tattoo guys just to get a little. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. My fault. I'm sorry. I don't know. Hopefully that nasty, but I'm just saying.
We'll see.
Yeah, look, there's going to be a lot of tossing guys on the line of scrimmage with you sitting over here, and look, it's going to be a talking point. If he gets on the field, defensive coordinator is going to be like, look, you don't let this guy who was playing quarterback come up and block you. You better not let this joker block you like that. He's a former quarterback. You better, break his neck. He try to come across the line.
Well, we can't say that. That's a part of bounty. What is that bounty game?
Yeah, right. Expression. That's all it is an expression. Break it. Mess him up. Okay.
Yeah.
Throw him around a little bit, like they say. All right.
Teach him a thing or two.
Teach him a thing. Make him earn his pay, right? So,
well, they were showing like his highlights when he was with the Jets, I guess towards the end of his career. He didn't. There was a play where he was like coming in motion. He was doing like they're going to throw a wheel to him. It looked like he didn't really have any ball skills, to be quite honest. It was a couple plays I saw, but he didn't really have ball skills as a pass catcher. I mean, at least what I saw.
Oh, really?
That's what
I mean, from the highlights, he looked. I mean, right now, nobody's really liking the look of it, of him trying to come back out of 6 years of the doing nothing, and so I'm pretty sure that what they're showing is some of his worst plays.
Yeah.
We don't think he's got it. Like, why is he doing this? And I kind of give him credit, 'cause I know he's a good athlete. I know he's in the gym 24/7. You can tell, and I won't sit there and try to make it out to where it's like, he's not an athlete.
Right.
You don't win national championships in college and not be an athlete. Even if you're with a good team, you have to be somewhat good to do the things that he's done. So give him some credit if he's able to pull it off. Heck, we sit back and we enjoy what he's doing. But I'm not a Jaguars fan, so it's not affecting my team or what I watch on TV. So, and it has brought up some negative talk amongst players. And I know I can't think of the guy's name. He was like, "Yeah, I can't wait till we play Jacksonville if he makes a team." So, some guys are have it out for him. And a lot of people right now don't like the idea of him taking advantage. Well, taking advantage of the privilege that he has.
That's right.
So, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's like you see what Taysom Hill's been doing with the Saints. It's like maybe that Tebow could do that. He didn't like come up in like this modern age of football. That whole like dual quarterback thing they've been doing with Taysom Hill. Maybe Tebow could do that if they do want to go with that. But they have Trevor Lawrence, the next best thing. So why would they want to do that? So
yeah,
they've been working Hill in, just kind of just working him in, just working him and working it. And it's been a process. This is a process here, So it takes a while. I'm shocked that he don't have any ball skills. I mean, he plays baseball, right? I mean, when the outfield, you should be able to learn how to track and turn and all of that. So he's an athlete. He's a multi-sport athlete. So I'm not going to tell that lie. He's not an athlete. I ain't gonna lie like that.
Yeah. The clips they show, I'm sure Eric's right. I'm sure they were just trying to paint that narrative like, this guy's gonna play tight end. The guy can't track a ball. I'm like, and from that clip or the couple clips I saw, it didn't look like he could be a good pass catcher. But obviously, I'm sure the guy's an athlete, of course. So I'm sure he can track a ball. But it's obviously different if you're going across the middle, like you said.
Oh yeah. No, we'll find out. We'll find out. He'll find out. So.
Yeah. I was hearing that story this week. I was like, I gotta get the guys to comment on this, especially you, JD, playing the tight end position yourself. So I had to get you to comment on that.
Hey man,
it's interesting, and JD's right. Yeah, when you're in that situation and you have a head coach that's heck, that's like if Coach Vermeil was Jeff Bezos. Heck, I'm gonna call Coach Vermeil for a job. For a front office job at that. But I don't have that right now. So, and he does. So if he's able to take advantage of a situation, then more power to him.
Yeah, and he lives 2 doors down from Urban Meyer too, so that also adds to the whole narrative of everything that they have between each other.
Urban Meyer been out there throwing ball in the backyard to him. That's what's been happening.
Yeah,
crazy.
Must be nice. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by BetOnline. We'll see you next week. And as always, if anyone has any Chiefs Kingdom concerns, you can just tweet at us at @ConcernsChief, and please subscribe and follow us on Chief Concerns on YouTube, Believe Podcast Network, and anywhere you can find a podcast.